Don't Watch. This is my open spoiler discussion for Marvel Studios' She-Hulk Attorney at Law Episode 1. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify if your future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And yes, after watching the first episode of She-Hulk titled A Normal Amount of Rage, I gotta say this thing was pretty damn good. Creator, showrunner, and head writer Jessica Gao, along with the lead director Kate Cairo, are off to a good start with this series. Now, this is only the first episode. We have 8 more to go, so this thing could go downhill real fast. But from what I've heard from other people online so far who've actually been able to see the first 4 episodes, we're in for a treat here. So again, we're off to a good start. I did like this episode a lot. I thought the writing was pretty good. We did have a runtime of 38 minutes. Now that's before you minus out the Marvel Studios title card and the 8 minutes of credits. But we did get a credit scene already at the end of this episode, which I thought was pretty damn cool. And compared to all the other MCU series we've gotten so far, it's pretty rare, because most of the time it's not until the second from last or the very last episode of that series, and it's just basically either finishing off part of the story like it did Moon Knight or setting up something new later on down the MCU timeline. I thought the on-screen chemistry between Mark Ruffalo and Tatiana Maslany in this first episode was pretty damn good. In either form, whether they were in human form or they were in Hulk form, I thought the whole entire episode was awesome. I loved it, even though most of it we saw in the trailers leading up to this, which was kind of disappointing just a little bit. Now, I was kind of wondering when we were going to see the She-Hulk origin story, how she got her powers and everything. And she even broke the fourth wall the first time in the series, saying, you're not going to be able to concentrate on this lawyer show until I get you caught up to speed. Now, her and Bruce are on this road trip. They don't really say why they're on this road trip, but she's going over her theory on how Captain America Steve Rogers is a virgin. Now, I thought this thing was hilarious when I saw it in the trailer, and I loved how it played out in this first episode, because it kept on coming up throughout the episode, and it came up again in the end credit scenes. We see a whiteboard and her pointing out her theory, and it comes up again in the end credit scene, which I thought was pretty damn hilarious. Now, I read an article over on Screen Rant where it was saying where the She-Hulk falls in the MCU timeline. Now, I thought this was pretty damn interesting on where they said this actually takes place. Now, this is not the actual release order for Phase 4, but this is like the chronological timeline, like where it falls in the story of the MCU, where like they're saying that Phase 4 starts off with WandaVision, goes into Eternals, then to Shang-Chi, then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then She-Hulk, Moon Knight, Thor Love and Thunder, Spider-Man No Way Home, Hawkeye, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and Miss Marvel. Now this kind of makes me wonder that we're like two things passed after the events of Eternals, and I have still yet to hear one word about what happened in the events of Eternals. I mean, a big, huge, giant figure started clawing its way out of the earth, and nobody's talking about it. There's like some kind of like big, huge being that came down and says he's going to come back and judge everybody, and nobody's talking about that. I mean, I think that's like the weirdest thing. But that's a topic for a whole nother video. Now, I thought it was kind of interesting that this takes place right after the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier and before the events of Moon Knight. I thought that was pretty damn interesting that that's where they're saying where this is at. Now, according to the article on Screen Rant, this takes place 8 months after the events of Endgame. So we're not really all that far from there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And like in the car ride with Bruce Banner and Jennifer Walters, you know, Bruce pretty much was like telling her everything that happened, and she's like, whoa, that's a lot for like, hey, how you been? I mean, I kind of would have liked to hear like the whole thing, but it is what it is. Really dug all the scenes with Bruce and Jennifer on the island, especially when they're talking and he's like reminiscing about his time with Tony and how they built the bar on his island and everything. And I thought that was pretty damn cool. And you can see and almost feel the pain in his eyes and stuff like that as he's talking about his friend Tony Stark. And like the Iron Man helmet sitting on that pedestal there in the bar, that was kind of cool. Somebody said that they saw his Gladiator helmet from Ragnarok in their background. I've watched this thing twice and I didn't see it. I was looking for it the second time. I haven't seen it yet, so I'll probably go watch it again and see if I can find it. But the whole entire training sequence here on the island as she's learning how to be a Hulk and everything was funny. It was kind of cool. And then like them actually fighting each other was kind of neat. You know, she didn't overpower him, but she was actually able to beat him a little bit, but not like totally like kick his butt, which was kind of cool. And a lot of people would have been really mad if she would have actually won. But he does allow her to go back. And then we see the courtroom scene where she's like trying to like win this big case. And then Titania shows up but doesn't last long in the fight. Now, according to another article I read on Screen Rant today, saying that she's supposed to show up again in episode 5. Now, I don't know anything about that character. I really don't know all that much about She-Hulk, to be quite honest with you. I mean, she was in a few West Coast Avenger books when I was growing up, but it's been a long time since I've read those, and I never read any of her standalone comics, so I have no idea what that story's all about. But so far, this show is pretty damn good. So all in all I could say is I did like this first episode, and we got 8 more to go, and I cannot wait to see where they take this story. Now, I don't think we're going to see Hulk here for quite a while. I think because this episode, at least effects-wise, was pretty damn expensive to have them both in Hulk form and stuff like that for majority of this episode, even though it was only like about less than 30 minutes long. That's a lot of cheddar there, buddy. I mean, I know the House of Mouth has got some money, but that's a lot of money to spend on one episode. I don't know what the budget for this series is, but that was a lot of money just for that first 30 minutes. I am wondering why that Sicarian spaceship showed up, the one that made him crash earlier on in this episode. I mean, Hulk did say that they were probably trying to send a message, and he was going to have to check into that later. I'm wondering when we're going to actually see that play out. Are we going to see that in this series when he finds out what they wanted, or are we going to have to wait for who knows what later on down the road in the MCU timeline to find out this is what they came to Earth for to cause this event? So did you see the first episode of She-Hulk? Let me know in the comments down below. What did you think about this first episode? Let me know in the comments down below. And did you read the She-Hulk comic back in the day? Let me know in the comments down below. I mean, we're only 1 episode in, and I can't wait to see where they take the story next. So let me just think in the comments down below.